Hello and welcome back to the Seven Figure Standard podcast. I'm Mykie Stiller, joined by my co-host Arash Vossoughi, and we are so thrilled to be with you this week talking about a topic that is so good. Are you obsessed or average? The truth about what it really takes to get where you want to go. Arash, I love this topic because you talk all the time about how you cannot be half in, half out. You're either all in or all out. So let's get right to it. What does it mean to be truly obsessed with your goal?
First off, I can relate to the people who are just doing what's convenient, because that's what I used to do. So I can look at this from both sides. And we've got to understand, most people say they want success, but they don't mean it. There's always three levels to get to obsessed, okay? Number one, you're either interested, you're either committed, or number three, you're obsessed. Only one of them creates the life you really want, and it's not the first two. So we've got to understand that. The difference between obsession and interest is quite a big gap. When we're interested, I'd like to do it. I'll try. So we do what's convenient. You know, when we're committed, it starts with commitment to get to obsession. So you have to commit, but you got to commit at that all in. Like, no shit, no kidding. This is what I'm doing. Now, when you commit at that level, it turns into obsession through repetition of being committed. Because over a period of a few weeks of being absolutely committed and convicted at the highest level, it turns into a magnificent obsession. But what I want to do today for everybody, I want you to reinvent your life. I want you today to say, I am done settling for good enough. And here's the uncomfortable truth. That means you have to be different. Understand, interested people talk. They like to tell everybody how much they know. And what we have to do is understand, committed people let their actions do the talking. Let their vision drive them. And when I was just average, Mike, I could tell you what I was doing. I could tell you this absolutely. I was afraid to fail. I had to be perfect before I did it. That's why I kept gathering so much information. That's why people don't do the real work. They say, oh, it doesn't work. No, it's never it doesn't work. It's, are you working the idea of being different? If you want to have what everyone else has, keep doing what everyone else is doing, but I promise you, you're going to lose. And that is an obsession. That is an obsession where we don't care. Now I don't care if I fail. I don't fear failing. I know if I fail enough times, I'm going to win. I'm going to stack that. But most people don't want to be different. They want to conform. So they never go to that obsession because they never put themselves on the hook. But then you watch somebody who is obsessed. They are so passionate. They are so convicted. And they're not worried about what anybody else thinks. They believe in their vision because they understand without a vision and repainting that vision every day, nothing's going to happen. Like, I love William James's quote on vision. He says, without a vision, people perish.
Arash, I have a question for you. Is some level of obsession required to create incredible results and keep them? So I think you can probably create some incredible results without obsession, but can you keep them?
For me, I can only speak for myself. Yeah. I've never created exceptional results if I wasn't obsessed. So you're probably right. People can if they have really strong willpower, but they're not going to sustain it. And so something gets activated in your life the moment you get obsessed. And that light inside of you never dims. Like, I watch people now that are our clients. They were interested. They came to us. Now they're obsessed. Now their language is so different. That's what happens. If you're only committed and you don't build commitment to obsession, eventually you're going to quit. If you're obsessed, you'll never stop until you create what you see in your mind. You will never stop. You will keep persisting forward. Keep going. The world never rewards interest, ever, because it's a weak energy. It's saying, I'd like this, but if it doesn't happen, I'm okay. You know, it's settling for good enough. If you're obsessed, you are going to have the universe working in your favor. It's going to be an ally. Okay?
So how do you build from interested to committed to obsessed?
Well, let's understand the traits of interest. Interest is you're excited at first, but it fades quickly. So you're always starting and stopping. You want the results, but you don't have the drive. You don't build the discipline. Commitment, what are those traits? They're willing to put in the work. They're disciplined. They keep promises to themselves. They show up even when they don't feel like it. That's committed, right? But obsessed is they are willing to do no matter what, whatever it takes. It is non-negotiable. They breathe it. They live it. They think about it. They act it constantly. Obsession is what collapses time because every decision aligns with the vision. So there's a big difference in the two, in the three, really. But I was thinking between commitment and obsession. Commitment is great. It is fabulous. I'm kind of downplaying it, but I shouldn't be because you can't get obsessed until you're fully committed. When you're committed in the repetition, every day is day one, you're going to turn commitment to obsession. So you don't go straight from interest to obsession. You have to get committed. Committed turns into obsession. And when you do, you are different. You're doing different habits and you behave your way into a completely different identity.
So this is something interesting. I think the word commitment has a overwhelmingly positive connotation to it. People hear the word committed and that's a positive word. It's good to be committed. Obsession, on the other hand, I think there are some people who look at it as a positive thing and a lot of people who look at it as a negative thing. Will you work through the different perspective of obsession and why people would see it as a negative and why we see it and teach it as a positive?
Anybody who criticizes obsessed people, they criticize it because they're not willing to risk like the people who are obsessed are. That's the only reason. That's why there's so many haters out there. They're hating people who are willing to do things they're not going to do. So if you have a negative connotation to obsession, you don't understand it. Do you realize everything we unconsciously commit to over and over again becomes an obsession? It is an obsession. So we're operating with obsession every day. All our excuses, I'm obsessed with excuses. You know, all the time we're negotiating with ourselves, I'm obsessed with negotiating with myself. See, interest feels good. It's comfortable. Commitment looks good. We love saying how committed we are, right? Obsession pays good. So if you're committed, you'll get results. But if you're if you're obsessed, you'll get massive transformation. Obsession isn't unhealthy when it's the right obsession, when it's directed at your vision. It's the purest form of alignment. See, obsession, the people who are really making it happen right now are obsessed. The people who are not are procrastinating. They're interested. They want more, but they don't want to change. I see it all the time. I want the life that the top 1% have, but I'm not willing to do what the top 1% do. You know, and it's not very hard to build that. It's just very consistent. Like winners and losers are very different. Winners define themselves by their consistency. Losers define themselves by what happened to them. There's a big difference there. You know, so I've been on both sides. Like I'm very transparent on my journey. Like I've been a loser, I've been a winner. You know, losing wasn't fun. Winning is a lot more fun. Why? Because you have much better experience. Who you become is far greater. So they're very different. And we've got to understand motivation is where the committed people are. Drive is where the obsessed people are. Drive is always greater than motivation because motivation fades. Drive lasts a lifetime. You know, people, Mykie, that you look at, you really respect and admire. You go, God, I love their drive. Like they're always stacking. They're always stacking. And I will tell you this, the more you stack failures, the more you're going to stack significant successes. So
I got to roll back something you just said, and I hope I say it right. So correct me if I don't. You said interested feels good, committed sounds good or looks good. I'm not sure. And Obsessed pays good. I
Yeah.
love that so
Yeah.
much. And I want to make sure everybody caught it and replays it again in their mind because that is so true. You also said we're all obsessed with something. Are you obsessed with being interested? Are you obsessed with being comfortable? Are you obsessed with your excuses? Or are you obsessed with being great? Obsessed with committing to the process? Because it is a process. You don't get obsessed and get the results day one. You have to be committed and fall in love with the journey and the process and the discipline that it takes to get there. And I want you to talk about that too, because just because you're obsessed, it's not just rewards right away. There's work to be done.
No, there's always a delay between operating at the new behavior and experiencing the results. There's always a delay. And this is the trick. Most people start operating for a few days and then they give into instant gratification. The winners operate non-negotiable no matter what until the result changes. So they're very different. Like I always say, like I'm obsessed. Like it's obvious. Like anyone around me knows I'm obsessed. But here's the thing. I'm more obsessed and I work harder on my craft where no one sees, it. I don't work as hard in front of people because I already did the work when no one's seeing it. And I'm always looking at finding holes in my game. I want to find my weaknesses. Is there a hole that I'm settling for good enough? And then I want to fix that. See, obsession isn't just everything is going to be roses. It's not. You know, obsession, you're obsessed because you want to change, but most people won't change until they have a bankruptcy, until they have a failed marriage. We don't need to go to that end to change. We've got to stop this. We got to understand who we are, because until we reinvent ourselves, going back to the beginning of what I said, nothing is going to change. The obsessed person is always wanting to chase their greatness, always wanting to get better. But Mike, who is going to change my life, my family's life, my business? Me. I'm the only one, because I carry full responsibility and full control of what I do. Now, the same thing for you, same thing for every listener. So nobody can sell me on the idea they could do it, but I can't. It is not true.
Okay, let's dig in there because a second ago, and let me know if you agree with this, and then I want you to talk more about it. You said motivation gets you so far. Motivation is great, but it's not as good as drive. Motivation comes from outside sources. Something outside of you is motivating you. Drive comes inside. So how do you keep your drive going? How do you feed your drive? What tools and tips and what are you using to keep that drive alive?
When you're obsessed, you don't have to keep your drive. Your drive is automatic. That's the beautiful part of obsession. When you're not obsessed, it's because you're using motivation. And I'm telling you, motivation fades. You know, I mean, if I look at my life, you know, I was reading 300 books, going to events, nothing changed. Why? Because I was using motivation. When you're obsessed, it's much different because you have drive and it's about execution. So they're two very different things. You know,
And
I
your
had
obsession
somebody.
is connected to your goal, your why, your.
It's connected to your vision. See, we got to repaint the vision every day. Most people let their vision fade. I wrote a vision, but they never deposit it every day. So it never turns into a belief. We want the vision to turn into a belief. And that's why auto-suggestion is so powerful, where we suggest something over and over to ourselves every day, because it's always resetting in our mind. And our mind always goes to the direction of our thought. Whatever thought we have, our mind goes in that direction. So what we have to understand is we're in control of everything. But if we're not responsible for how we think, if we're not thinking big enough, believing big enough, we're not going to create an obsession. But you have to believe big enough before you even authentically believe it. Like, you have to fake it. You've got to brainwash yourself. You've got to lie to yourself over and over again. And then you start creating steam. See, a lot of people, what they believe is not even true. It's not even true what they believe. But they believe it because it's easier. It's easier to believe because of the past, because we're addicted to our past self. Everything starts and ends by being in alignment with our future self. And when we're aligned with our future self, obsession is just normal. It is just absolutely a normal thing.
I want to dig in more to personal responsibility here. A second ago, you said nobody, like, there's nothing I can't do that I can do that you can't do. Nobody can change for you. You have to change yourself. Well, nobody can get obsessed for you. Nobody can give you obsession. It's something that you have to foster and do yourself. So we dig into the personal responsibility side.
Well, number one, we've got to stop being victims. I mean, that's why I always say it's so easy to win because life is full of victims because they never do the work. Like the only person who's going to get me out of my adversity is me. Nobody else can do it for me. People can guide me. My mentor guided me, but he didn't do the work for me. He used to say that all the time. He said, you did the work. So stop giving me the credit is what he used to always tell me. You know, like I will tell you what you do when no one is watching is the real you. And so man always attracts what he is. So what you are is what you're doing when nobody is watching. And every day, an obsessed person's mission is to empty the tank. Like for me, I want to take every ounce of my potential and use it when I look in the mirror and brush my teeth at night. Now, do I always do it? Probably not, because we have so much potential we're not going to use. But that's my goal. But I want to use every ounce of potential that I'm aware of. But I understand there's a delay between having and experiencing. I know there's a delay between the two. I can have it in my mind, but I may not experience it for 2 years. Like, I don't know how long it takes. It's going to take as long as I believe it. So what we've got to understand is pain is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We got to change our relationship with it. Nothing worth achieving really feels worth it unless we overcame adversity. And I promise you, if you want something amazing, then you're going to have to go through that pain. But don't let pain stop you. Let it drive you. Say, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And that's why I want everyone to act faster, believe bigger, but understand we got to practice. We've got to practice it over and over again. And like I was working with somebody on our team recently, and they said to me, I don't have your standards. I said, why not? I said, why are you settling for good enough? You're just as good as me. I'm not special. You know, like if I can have them, you can have them. Let's soar. Like that we're accepting smaller ideas because of our past is ridiculous. The past has no bearing on what we create in our future, but an aware person understands it. So what's our job? To become more and more aware. Our job is to model people we admire. See, I know there's a lot of people who absolutely apply everything I give them on this podcast. And I know there's other people who use it for motivation, so the results don't change. But that's the difference between winners and losers. Winners execute relentlessly. Relentlessly. Yeah, Mike, I could take you back. I used to listen to trainings from our mentor. I used to listen to him, and you think I'm exaggerating. If there was a training that hit me, I would listen to it 100 times. I practice my craft thousands of times. You know, like these are what obsessed people do, but these are also why they're getting paid so much more than people who just stay at the interest or committed level. Whenever somebody tells me they're interested, I go, that's dangerous. Because interest is us willing to do what's convenient. Commitment turns into obsession. We're willing to do whatever it takes, and we accept only results, not excuses. They're very different. They're very different.
This has been so good. Arash, let's get into an action step for today for everyone.
Well, the first question is identify, am I interested, am I committed, or am I obsessed? Then audit yourself. Where are you just interested? Where are you committed? And what's the one thing you're obsessed about? Because we're all obsessed about something. Because that's where your future is being built. Don't settle for interest another second. Like you could stop it right now. I'm done being interested. Don't even settle for commitment. Go all in. Have the attitude that you make an irrevocable, committed decision every day, over and over and over and over again. 30 days, you're going to become obsessed, and watch what's going to happen. You watch what's going to happen. Your life is going to become magical.
This has been so good. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share it with your friends and family or on social media. And look over on VossCoachingCo.com at our upcoming events and come tell us just what this has done and the change that you've experienced in the last 30 days when you became obsessed. We would love to see you in person. Arash, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week on another episode of the 7-Figure Standard podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more